Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank. How long do most podcasts stay in business? The answer, not very long. Over 90% of podcast hosts quit by episode number 3. And of those who keep going, 90% of those don't get past episode number 20. So if I do my math, I'm one of the less than 1% of all podcasts out there who are still going with over 20 episodes. May is here, and that means as a podcast listener, you've got less than 1 week to join our new beta program, 3 proven steps to your invention success. Act now so you can join other founding beta students. You'll get the lowest price that I'll ever offer for this course, only $97 for 3 one-hour training classes over 3 weeks. And it all kicks off on Monday, May 20th. Registration and information is available at www.alanbeckley.com/proven-steps. Enrollment is limited to just the first 15 students who sign up, and we already have 9 paid members. Space is filling fast, and those 6 remaining slots may not last long, so don't wait. Go to www.alanbeckley.com/proven-steps to join as one of our founding members now. Okay, sounds interesting, you may be thinking. So what am I going to get when I join this course? In Class 1, I'll show you precisely how to find out if your product is already out there before you spend thousands on prototypes and patents. Not doing a comprehensive early product search can cost you thousands of dollars later on. Class 2 is all about prototype development. I'll show you how to progress from your proof of concept prototype all the way to your refined, proud to present prototype. You'll get proven, prudent, and practical ways to develop your prototype on your budget. Finally, in Class 3, I'll show you how to tap 3 specific resources to create your curated list of companies who are likely to be interested in licensing your product. Why waste years blasting out pitches to dozens of companies that have no interest in your product? When you invest just $97 for the program, you'll also get a bonus of 1 hour of one-on-one coaching with me, absolutely free of cost. That's a $150 value just for joining the program. It's like buying $97 of groceries. Then they give you a $150 coupon for more groceries for free. It's that good a deal. 3 Proven Steps has a 100% money-back satisfaction guarantee. If you don't think it's worth far more than $97, you'll get a full refund. Sign up now before the remaining slots are all taken. Just go to alanbeckley.com/proven-steps to register now. Doors will close as soon as we have 15 students. Don't miss out. Register now. Have questions? Just email me at alan@alanbeckley.com and put Proven Steps in the subject line. I look forward to working with you starting on May 20th to get you on a proven course to invention success. Again, go to alanbeckley.com/proven-steps to register now. Welcome to episode number 406. Today I don't interview anyone because it's another me on the mic episode. But I have something interesting to share with you today. After over 5 years of doing the podcast now, closing in on 200,000 downloads, and the podcast is heard in over 30 countries, first, I want to give you thanks from the bottom of my heart for listening to this podcast, whether this is the first time you've listened, the 100th time, or the 400th time. I never take that for granted. I appreciate you and every other listener out there. So let me briefly outline what I'm going to be sharing with you today. There's 4 points I'm going to cover. The first one is why I started this podcast. What was my goal with the Inventors Helping Inventors podcast? The second point I'm going to cover is why a podcast is the best way to reach and help the most inventors. Point number 3 is how you can help me reach more inventors through the podcast. And my fourth point is a question to you. How can I better serve you through the podcast? Let's get to point number 1. Why I started this podcast. What was my goal in doing so? Well, to be honest, I recognize that I had a long, rocky journey to success with my product, the Wonder Wallet. And as I've interviewed over 300 successful inventors on this podcast, I recognize most inventors have a long, rocky road. And my goal is to give back to help you and other inventors to achieve success. And I do that through the podcast by every week interviewing successful, interesting inventors all over the world with the goal of bringing their stories to you each week. And my bodacious goal is to help 1 million inventors to achieve success. That's my goal. That's why I started this podcast. Let's go to point number 2, why a podcast is the best way to reach and help the most inventors. Podcasts are free. It does not cost a dime to listen. So no matter what your economics are, if you've got a cell phone, you can listen to a podcast. And let's chat a little bit about some podcast statistics because I think you'll find them interesting. There are now over 5 million total podcasts recorded worldwide and 504 million listeners worldwide. 500 million people. Isn't that amazing? Those are the positive, amazing statistics. Now let's look under the covers a bit. How long do most podcasts stay in business? The answer, not very long. Over 90% of podcast hosts quit by episode number 3. And of those who keep going, 90% of those don't get past episode number 20. So if I do my math, I'm one of the less than 1% of all podcasts out there who are still going with over 20 episodes. So the fallout rate, unfortunately, in podcasts is quite high. I thought you might find that interesting. Now let's go to point number 3, how you can help me to reach and help more inventors. Simple answer, keep listening to the podcast. That helps the podcast a lot. Better yet, if you subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, you can go to alanbeckley.com/podcast. And just to the right of the Inventors Helping Inventors icon, there's a little circle with 3 dots on it. Click on the 3 dots, then click subscribe. It's that easy. When you subscribe, it makes sure you're going to get the podcast each week, and it certainly helps the podcast as well. Also, share with other inventors. Same thing. Sometimes people say, well, I've never listened to a podcast. The easy way for them to listen to this podcast, if they've never listened to a podcast, is go to my website, alanbeckley.com/podcast. They can find every single episode right there. And just like you, they can subscribe if they choose. Something else you can do to help me reach more inventors through the podcast is if you'll take just a few minutes and do a rating and review. A rating is like 5 stars, hopefully, and a review of the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. That is immensely helpful. The more rating and especially reviews the podcast has, the more it gets resonance and it tends to draw and attract more listeners. So doing those things will help me a lot in terms of keeping the podcast coming to you and growing it. And speaking of which, there's a reason why I titled this The Next 400 Podcast Episodes, because this is episode number 406, and I wanted to let you know, even though 90% quit after episode 20, I have no intention of quitting. I intend to bring you more exciting, interesting, successful inventors. Finally, point number 4, how can I better serve you through the podcast? Please send me a quick email to alan@alanbeckley.com, and please put in the subject line of your email, podcast listener feedback. That way I'll know who it's from and what it's about. And if you could take just a few minutes and tell me your name, where you're from, how long you've been listening, and why you listen, that again would be helpful information for me. But then you can share with me, hopefully, what do you like most about the podcast? And equally, what could the podcast do to better serve you? What maybe don't you like so much? What would you like to hear more of? What might you like to hear less of? What would you like to hear on the podcast that you're not hearing now? I am open to hearing any thoughts that you have, and it will help make the podcast better for everyone. Thanks, as always, for listening, and we'll be talking to you again soon. I want to check in with you and ask you a few personal questions. Are you about to make some big decisions? And you're about to spend some money, maybe a lot of money? And are you wondering if you're on the right track or about to make a big mistake? Well, what if you could book a strategy session with a successful inventor who's been there, done that, and can point you in the right direction? Now you can. For a limited amount of time, I'm offering only to podcast listeners the opportunity to book a 30-minute strategy session with me, absolutely free. Now, I'm only opening 5 slots for now, so don't wait if you want some help. So how do you schedule your strategy session? Simple. Send me an email to alan@alanbeckley.com, and in the subject line, please put strategy session. I'll reach out to you, find out what's going on, and we'll schedule your strategy meeting. Once again, if you're needing some help and guidance, just email me at alan@alanbeckley.com and put in the subject line, strategy session. Look forward to talking to you. So you're done searching for your product and it's not out there. Yay! Maybe you filed for a provisional patent and done some marketing research or surveys. Heck, maybe you've even created a rough prototype, then found that, although it kind of works, it looks like something from the Stone Age. You'd be embarrassed to show it to your friends, much less to a manufacturer for a licensing pitch. What if I could put you in touch with a guy who offers free consultations, takes no money down, no money up front, and will give you a quote on your project before he starts? What if I told you that this same guy can help you design your product and make you a virtual prototype before you ever put a penny into building a physical one? What if I told you he could make you patent drawings, CAD files for manufacturing, and even make marketing videos and build you a website? If this sounds like someone you want to talk to, let me introduce you to my first podcast sponsor, Brian Keast at I Draw Dreams for Inventors. With 3.5 years of trade school and 15 years of mechanical experience working as a mechanic for General Motors, you have someone that's seen countless design failures and how they were fixed. Also, he had a 25-year career as a general contractor who designed his own houses and remodels on computer-aided design. In getting plans through countless building departments, he gained a tremendous amount of experience by working directly with structural engineers. The many years of combined experience in these two careers gave him a unique look into stresses and failures in design. He brings this wealth of knowledge and experience to his company, I Draw Dreams, as the CAD guy who will design a product for you that will work. Every inventor I've referred to Brian has come away delighted with the work he has done for them, and I think you will too. Just make sure to tell them that Alan sent you. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.